Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest This is the Music Meets podcast. For episode 78, I'm delighted that Welsh five-piece The Rogues are joining me for a chat. Over the course of the latest podcast, we're going to get the lowdown on the band's first two singles, their summer festival appearances, and much, much more. So I'm joined by Andrew, Ben, Alex, and James. As I say, welcome along to This is the Music Meets podcast. Thank you very much for coming on. How are you doing today?
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, not bad. Good to be here.
Yeah.
Been a long time coming, this podcast, so we've tried to throw it up before.
Yeah, we've had a couple of near misses, haven't we, along the way? But hey, the most important thing is that we are all here now and together. And as I say, really, really looking forward to this one. So we're going to come on, as we mentioned there, the two singles that you put out at the moment. For those that don't know, the debut single was called Lissy, and the latest single that came out on Thursday was called Skinny Dipping. But first of all, can you just kind of like let the This is the Music listeners know exactly how the band started?
Well, Radu's not here today. It was me and him. We started off, it was only us two for about 2 weeks, I think, but it was the only boy I knew who played the guitar in Newport at the time. So I thought, if I want to start a band, I better ask him. And then he knew James. He knew a drummer, so James come along for a few practices, and then Ben followed a week after, or 2 weeks after. We put an advert up. And then we were together for how long? Just the four?
Yeah, probably like 5-6 months, I reckon.
It was like 3 or 4. It's like November.
Yeah.
Yeah, not too many.
Yeah, we had our first gig sorted May, I think it was, last year. So we've been doing a 4-piece, and then Andy got run over by an breached motorbike, broke his arm. So he couldn't play the guitar. So we brought Alex in then a couple of weeks beforehand, because me and Rod went to school with him.
Right.
So we needed a guitarist. So Alex come in and learnt all the songs for the first gig. I had to play without the guitar. And then we were just like, he's that good, he could stay. So we kept him.
Yeah. The first gig, it was mainly like friends and family. And
Right.
That's it. That's sort of like keeping.
Yeah, sure. And what about so sorry, before I get onto that question, so how then was that for you then being I guess like the front lad at the front, so to speak, pretty much all eyes on you with like nothing like protecting you, I guess, in some sort of like weird way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I was dreading it. I said to the boys about a week before, like it was our first gig, and then we'd already told everyone. I was like, oh, do you know what, boys? I think just leave it, like armrest and just let me get back and play the guitar properly, and let's do it properly. But there was just too much behind it, and we just ended up doing it. But it turned out all right once I got into it, I think. But that was the first time, well, the four of us have ever played, and then the five of us. So
yeah,
got on with it.
Yeah, right. Sure, okay. And what about then the band's name? What was is that like a nod to because you guys are all, as you said, they're all from Newport. So is that a nod in any way, shape, or form to Newport, or is it very much just something you've thrown a few names around and that one type sort of stuck type of thing?
Well, the Rogues is still up for dispute who actually named it, isn't it?
Yeah, none of us really remember the name around with
Everyone knows, but I don't know. I don't know where it came from. It was just all in agreement kind of thing. When that came out, it was just like, that'll do for now. And then
we were throwing some names out for like a good couple of months, and we just couldn't think of any. And it took a while. And then whoever mentioned it, whoever brought it up, we were just like, that'll do that.
Yeah, sure. And I can see, obviously, you got a nice little bit of merch going on as well, which is obviously always great to see. So, for the people watching this on YouTube, there it is. That's what you want to get your hands on. So, obviously, this song, you just spoken about the first gig that you did last year in May, but you've had a pretty busy summer, to be fair. This year, obviously, you played. I think you played about 3 or 4 different festivals. I think I'm right in saying. So kind of like then, can you just like let the listeners know what those festivals have been?
Yeah, I think the first one we did this year was Big Sesh Wales in Newport
Yeah,
at the Westgate Hotel. That was sort of about the Westgate holds about 200 people or so.
Yeah.
nice. Yeah,
Three stages set up in there. Yeah, it was a good weekend. April bank holiday, and then the next one there was
Autumn, yeah,
the
Autumn was good.
Autumn Festival, which is a bit more like people sort of quote her as like, if you can't go to Glastonbury, you've got to go to the Autumn one.
right. Okay.
Yeah, it's a bit like, I don't know,
Yeah.
funky sort of.
It was a good weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We played on the Saturday. We had a good time. Like I think we were like on at like 3 o'clock, so
Yeah.
it was a good enough time to play our set and then like enjoy the rest of the bands.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we camped overnight and just thought, oh, let's just stay another night and just
Who just
go on
caught
again
up,
again straight after.
in the mix of the Borden. It's a great little festival as well.
Yeah, we loved it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, sure. And kind of like then looking at those appearances that you've had, like festival appearances that you've had, have there been like any in particular where you sort of like, you know, it sort of stood out for you, like a particular highlight moment, maybe, you know, where you was all on stage, you're all looking at each other and going, oh, you know what, we've smashed this set here, or maybe, you know, the number of people that turned up to come and see you. Is there any like particular memories at all for you guys?
Yeah, I think we played Killeen Festival.
It's like another local one.
Yeah, so that's like where some of us went to school, and there's like in each pub over like the course of a weekend or a week they have like a good number of bands on. So the stage that we were on is like the beer garden's massive. It like overlooks like this river. It's like, you know, it's like a nice view, and it was absolutely rammed on it. It was bouncing, and it started raining in the day as well. So we thought like there wouldn't be that many people there, but everyone just like stayed out to watch.
Yeah, 300.
Yeah.
400.
That's
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, fantastic! So it's good to hear then that with each like festival appearance, obviously it's getting bigger, and obviously more and more people coming down to obviously to check you out, which is obviously exactly what we which is what everyone wants, really, isn't it? So yeah, great. So obviously 2 singles that have come out so far. We'll talk about the debut first. Obviously you mentioned it was earlier on. It was called Lissy. That came out back in May. It's had a fantastic reaction to it, and obviously the streams are obviously continuing to really glow. And I know within about the first month or so of it coming out, I think there was about 5,500 streams, I think, on it, which, you know, is absolutely incredible. So kind of like looking back on that release now, kind of like what was the mood like in the Rogues camp? You know, getting your first single out there in the wide world.
It was a bit stressful.
Yeah.
Doing all between the 5 of us, trying to sort it out, and like, to be fair to the lads, promote it well on social media. It was just all really new to us. So, and we just wanted to get it right. But once we got the music sorted, we were like concerned. We did merch specifically for Lizzie, but we just wanted to make it the best we could.
Yeah, because like we first sort of had it planned out to release at the end of March.
Yeah.
And then it ended up coming out 2 months later, end of May. So yeah, once the music got put in place, the artwork got put in place,
it was just when sorting that out.
Yeah, that was.
It was a bit of a rush, like everything. Pretty like quickly, but without realizing the 2 months had gone past the date it was supposed to.
Yeah.
But we made it what we wanted it to be in the end. So that's a good one.
Yeah, sure, okay, and kind of like as well then, looking back, like I said there, 5,500 streams within the first month, and obviously it's continued to do fantastically well since. I mean, wow. I mean, what's the reaction like to that? I mean, to me that's really impressive debut single. You know, with kind of like, you know, fan base still growing. I mean, how do you feel about that looking back on it now?
Yeah, because like obviously, well, we kept people waiting for like a year really for properly recorded.
Yeah.
Spotify, Apple Music, and
It was just it was good to have one of our things on out there as well. That it was a bit of that about it as well. So I don't know. To me, anyway, it was good. It was good numbers, but it was good to just finally get something out after a year and a half of being together. That was
and to have it like properly recorded back and listening to it.
just it was a big moment. The single.
Yeah, sure. I can only kind of like imagine really what that must have been like finally having something out there. But obviously the new single, Skinny Dipping, came out a couple of days ago. I mean the reaction has obviously been very, very good again so far. But so maybe for those that haven't heard it yet, can you maybe just give us like a little bit of background into the song? And maybe if there's any like any like specific meaning behind it at all.
Yeah, well, we aim for the summer release, even though it's a bit later than we planned. But it is. We think it's a summer song anyway. It was wrote in the summer about 2 summers ago now.
Mm-hmm.
Just about the vibe of summer. I don't know, like. I think the lyrics in that song, I think, are pretty self-explanatory. So follow the lyrics. You've got a groovy little a few riffs in there, a nice little melody, and I think it's just a good summer song.
Yeah, it's always done well at our gigs. Like the first one we did, especially, everyone was like, "Oh, what's that song?" We played, "Oh, I love that Skinny Dipping."
Yeah, it was just one from the start as well. We always played that. It was like Lizzie. So that's why we went with Lizzie. We went Skinny Dipping. We wanted to do the songs that we always did, and we know those songs like inside and out. So yeah, it just goes with the summer vibe, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, let's hope now that the release of that song is actually going to bring us some summer, because obviously it's been pretty shocking so far. Certainly here in Essex, anyway. So yeah, fingers crossed on that front. But one thing that I am sort of quite interested in sort of finding out a little bit more really is what is the writing and the recording process like? Is it very much like an individual thing, like on the writing side, or is it very much a case of everyone's contributing ideas and sort of going down that route?
Well, when we used to rehearse, we used to just meet up in a local studios called One Louder in Newport. So we'd all come together then, and to get a ball rolling, I just like say, "Oh, I've got a song. We'll play this," and the boys would play like their instruments. James would go on the drums, Alex on guitar, Ben on bass, and then Rod on guitar as well. So yeah, I would bring about 50% of the song, all written and all done, but there's nothing really on an acoustic
guitar. With it then, like play it all together. We just go from there, then, wouldn't it?
But now it's kind of changed a bit, hasn't it? Like the process. It would be like now I'll bring less of a song in and let everyone build it more.
Right.
Yeah, quite a few now just sort of start on the spot really.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just having a little jam. Yeah, maybe we're bored of like learning a new song and then we just start
Brilliant, great stuff. And just as well, on the recording process, obviously you mentioned there a studio. Are you guys very much taking the ideas that are coming from like the producer? Are you listening? Oh, I don't mean it like he's a teacher type of thing, but are you like listening to their ideas and trying that out? Or are you very much like, no, this is how we know song like Lissy or Skinny Dipping, that's how we know it's going to sound in our heads already, and that's what we're sticking with? Or are you quite open to sort of like the ideas that might be forthcoming?
Yeah, well, when we recorded these 2 songs, they were a little bit longer than like the versions put out.
Mm-hmm.
So when we went in there, the producer told me sort of trying to like cut corners, well, not cut corners, I guess to cut parts of the songs.
Yeah.
Make them a bit like easy to listen to, really.
Yeah, just shorten them down a bit. And yeah, some sort of suggestions we sort of just bounced off of really in the room. Got our like I was thinking a bit of different sort of grooves
Yeah.
and patterns for the songs.
And it was like, it definitely, like working with a producer for those songs, it was just like a bit more professionalism about it. Like Ben said, cutting songs, that doesn't need to be in there. That needs to be uplifted. So yeah, it was a big help. Like
Sort of
working
like
with someone.
helped influence like our newer songs as well. Like we'll remember like what we did in the studio with Tom.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that doesn't
Yeah.
need to be in there necessarily. So we'll just cut that a bit shorter. Or, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot really.
Yeah, sure. Okay. And sorry, just sort of I've jumped from festivals to the singles, and now I'm jumping back to the tour that you did in June. Sort of first sort of kind of like headline tour across the UK. Kind of like how was the tour for you? And have you got any sort of like funny stories or anything like that that you can maybe share with the listeners today?
Well, where did it start? What was our first one?
Acoustic.
Oh yeah, started off in Cardiff.
Yeah,
It was consecutive weekends, wasn't it? It was nearly every weekend.
yeah,
we were going away.
the first weekend it was an acoustic set in the Moon Cardiff.
Yeah.
And then the week after we did a secret gig in Newport.
Hmm.
It was like a tiny little building. It used to be like a gentleman's toilet going back like 100 years.
Couple of minutes more than Newport. Yeah. How I don't know. What would you say is the capacity in there?
Yeah, it was
35 or 40.
Yeah, 40. So it was probably about 50 squeezed in.
Yes.
Like,
Wow.
and then, yeah, that one was cool.
That kicked it all off really. And then what was the next week we went?
We did London on a Thursday night and then Nottingham on a Friday night.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I had to make it back for work in Cardiff on Friday morning. Going straight to London from work on the Thursday. We all drove back then on the Thursday night, then worked again on the Friday, and then straight back up to Nottingham then.
Oh, nasty.
Yeah. But no, they were crack. They were good too. They were worth it.
Yeah, Nottingham was really good. And then the next week, then we went to Liverpool. Sorry.
Yeah.
And
That was the only one that we actually stayed over.
Yeah.
All the others we just drove back and braved it.
Yeah.
But it was
a good laugh.
like you think being in the car for a long time, like, oh, how's this gonna go? But it would go in like it would be like, are we here? It just someone would do a music recommendation and I'd chuck that album on. Yeah, we'll have to listen to that. And then just be laughing, and then before you know it, we're in Liverpool. So it was just fun. Like it was just doing it on the bounce as well. In Liverpool, we went up for a Battle of the Bands.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So it's that sort of thing, but I don't know. We didn't get gold medal, unfortunately.
Well,
we were up against it, to be fair, with all the local bands, so it was tough.
well, all I'll say is that you boys are you've got the sound, I think, for me. So you don't worry too much about the Battle of the Bands. bigger things are beckoning for you boys in my view. So we won't worry about that too much. But here, obviously, as you guys know, here at This Is the Music, we like to try and shine a light on unsigned bands and artists, like the Rogues that are trying to establish themselves on the new music scene. So kind of like over the last sort of 12 months or so, have there been any unsigned bands or artists maybe that have caught your eye that you're really into their sound and what they're doing?
I need to think about this.
Yeah.
You're like into
I think a couple of local bands who we're like quite mates with, like the Malachites and
love them. Yeah, great band.
They're a good band, to be fair. I saw them at Why Not Festival 2 weeks ago, and that was quite. Obviously, we've seen them like in Cardiff, or we've done a couple of gigs with them. But going at
our first gig.
we did our first gig with the Malachites.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, it was quite cool to see going up, all the way up there to like Derbyshire and seeing like a local band that we're quite mates with, and it was their first major festival that they played as well, and they had quite a good crowd behind them as well. And everyone was enjoying it, so that was quite good to watch.
Yeah, sure. And is there anyone else that you guys have been listening to, or is it mainly just the Malachites?
I always go back. It was ages ago. It was Bristol when we supported
Dutch Criminal Record.
Dutch Criminal Record, and they had a band called The Extras.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, they were a good band. I think they're Bristol based, and they're the same age as us, and they just had a good sound. They were just good on stage, and I always remembered them. So The Extras.
With Danny Melling as well. He's
Danny.
Yeah.
he's another good one. Yeah, we supported Danny in Le Pub in Newport, and that was a good crack on it. I think we quite a few tickets sold for that as well. It was quite a good crowd.
Yeah, he's doing well as well. Isn't he?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Well, definitely is some really good recommendations in there, and I think well, The Extras and Danny there, as you saying, I think a couple there for me to go and check out for myself. So we're going to throw some quick fire questions at you now. Obviously we've spoken a little bit about the band, how it started, and a couple of the singles, or both of the singles, sorry, that you've put out now. But I'm going to try and maybe find out a little bit more about the different personalities in the band. So the first one is, what is the one item that you couldn't live without?
One item. Well, I think it's Alex. There's only one item.
Yeah, that's my solder.
Is there any particular reason for that?
No, it's my guitar.
Blows his out.
Right. Okay.
But no, it's because I was repairing my amp the other day because it blew up at the end of the Newport gig. So I had my head stuck in my amplifier. Yeah,
What did you say,
that's
man?
You ask one mum, she'll probably say an air dryer.
He said
I'm waiting for half an hour by the time he's supposed to be finished.
Well, no, an alarm clock.
I don't know. It's a tough one for me.
One thing James found in the leg.
Oh, I love that hi-hat clutch.
Yeah, that is a good hi-hat clutch.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah.
I don't know. I would say it would be guitar, but that's just a stupid answer. Or like, I don't know. One thing I can't live without. I'd just probably be born like headphones or something.
Yeah, I was thinking that headphones, but then you got nothing to play anything into then.
That's it. Yeah. Who's bringing the music? One of you for headphones, one for the music. Then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And what are your? Oh, this is probably quite a difficult one actually. But what are your 3 favorite albums of all time?
What, together? If we had to pick 3.
Yeah. So 3 each. Yeah, if you
3.
can.
Mine would be. It's just got to be. It sounds basic, but What's the Story, Morning Glory for me. It's like an album full of hit singles, so I just have to go with that. Another album. I quite like. I'm trying to think. Have you ever heard of the Stripes?
The Stripes, yeah.
No, but I don't think they're together anymore. But they had an album called Spit an Image.
Mm-hmm.
I love that album. I think that's class. And last one, Phonics album, something, or a Coldplay album, Parachutes maybe.
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah, nice choices.
I think one of them has got to be Sgt. Pepper. I'm like quite a big Beatles fan. That was the first record that I bought, and it's just, I don't know, it's just a class album.
Yeah.
Morning Glory is another good one. Like growing up, my dad played Morning Glory a lot, so like all of those songs are just drilled into my head. I'm quite into some like Australian bands. There's this band called the Grogans, which they released an album last year. I'd say that's up there. Even though it's quite a new album, that's right up my street. Like, it's quite a good one.
Okay, yeah, one to check out there, definitely.
Yeah, hands down, probably London Calling.
Yeah,
Put it
classic.
on the other day, and I hadn't listened to it in full in a while, and there's just so much going on it. I
Hmm.
think it's 19 songs in it, I think, so.
Yeah,
And yeah, all different. So I could probably put Morning Glory in as well, or definitely maybe.
They're just
Um,
staple.
Yeah, they just do it and have it on.
yeah,
Um,
sure.
I don't know. Otherwise, though, I probably like. I don't know. I would say a Rolling Stones album, and they're all so different as well. Like the ones in the
Mm.
'70s, there's like so much different stuff going on. I don't know. Maybe a Manic Street Preachers album, probably like Holy Five, or
Yeah.
Generation Paris. Actually, yeah, one of those two. I'll leave it
Great choices.
at that.
Well, I'd probably say for me, it's BB King live at the Reed. It's got some of the most like emotive sort of performing that for me on
Right. Okay. Yep.
probably Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah.
Probably another blues rock album for me. Still got the blues by Gary. Those would be my three.
Excellent. Great choices in there, lads. So this one is getting probably a little bit more into the band again, a little bit more. So, which members of the band are most likely to get married to each other?
Those two.
I don't know. Yeah, these are
Yeah,
always
sure.
knocking about. They're always late. They're always just behind. Like, oh wait, what
Well,
was
I'm
the story?
trying to drag.
He's
I'm trying to drag
always-
Ben along, but he's
Yeah.
like a slug.
In the services on the way up? It's
I
like,
got
where's
too
Ben?
much to do. But,
Yeah.
the other day we went to the Skinny Dipping was coming out. We went to Western Supermare at like 2 a.m. just for
late night couple
yeah.
Nice walk down the pier, down the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did
nice.
you propose to each other? Maybe you are going to get married.
Brilliant, love it. So which band member is most likely to run off and go and join a religious cult?
Probably
Yeah,
Rob.
totally.
Okay, and is there any reason why?
He's
opinionated.
He's all over the place, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, once he says something,
He likes
it's like,
American stuff. So.
Right. Okay. Well, enough said. Brilliant. So, which band member? And I've got a funny idea who I think this might be. Which band member is always late? Be it rehearsals, gigs.
he's just an absolute front runner, but it's just
Yeah.
it's a disease, isn't it?
This goes back to what we were saying, and that's probably the main reason.
I don't think you believe it. If we tried to explain it to you, you wouldn't.
Brilliant, great stuff. So, lads, I know that obviously that you are into your football. Andy, I know that you are a Man United fan, and we've got an Arsenal fan in Ben, and Alex, that you are a Leicester fan. I think I've got that right. So kind of like looking ahead to obviously the season. Well, Premier League kicks off on Friday. Obviously, the Championship was the weekend before, but kind of like as we have just reached the kick-off time, what are the sort of aspirations for your team's seasons this year?
We've been a Man United fan now. I just don't get my hopes up anymore. Seeing the state of Man City last season, and they did the treble. That's the only thing we ever had to boast about, and they did it now. So I'm giving up. I'm sure they'll do all right, maybe top 4, but I don't see anyone beating Man City, to be honest. It's depressing as it is.
Well, I don't know. Obviously, sort of Arsenal go one better win the league this season, but I don't know. Seeing how we do with Champions League, we kind of went out Europa League last season a bit too easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, just seeing how we go with Champions League again. suppose, pushing on a bit further.
Mm-hmm.
And, we go on to
and obviously you signed from my team, Declan Rice. You happy with that signing?
yeah. It's just a good guy to have around, I suppose, isn't it? Just another sort of mid-20s England player. Just another good on-time player.
Yeah, definitely.
He's
Yeah.
not bad. He's not a bad player.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so looking, going back to the music, what sort of then plans are in place for the Rogues for this year? Are we maybe looking on? It's probably a bit early to maybe be talking about another single. Obviously, you just put one out, as we've said earlier. But are there any plans for more music across the rest of this year, or are you maybe looking at trying to get a tour together or anything like that at all?
No, we're
No,
just gigging. We've got a gig with Pastel in, when's that? 16th of November.
Oh, fantastic!
That's one that we got looking forward to, innit? A good one in the calendar.
That's going to be in the Globe in Cardiff, which is about
350, I think.
350.
That'll be the biggest venue that we've played.
Right, fantastic.
That'll be a big one. And then Katie Owen as well, the DJ. She's supporting as well. So that's
Yeah.
So good lineup, including us. We're buzzing for that one.
Yeah, that's a massive gig for us. I think we're doing some gigs before that. I don't know. We're just trying to tick them over, keep practicing. We've got a few new songs that we're jamming together on the go. We just want to get them finished. Just uplift our set list a bit. Like we stuck with the whole same set list throughout the summer, doing like the same in Liverpool, London, because it was a good set list and we were comfortable with it. But now it needs a bit of a freshen up. So we're just trying to work on the set list as well, really.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Well, sounds like it's going to be a very, very exciting sort of few months for you boys. And I'm certainly looking forward to seeing what that rest of that year is going to bring. Because I've really, really enjoyed the two songs that obviously you've put out so far. But unfortunately, Andrew, Ben, Alex, and James, that is the end of the This Is the Music Meets podcast. Thanks very much for giving up your time and coming on. I hope that you've enjoyed it. I really have. It's been great getting to know, a little bit more about the band and the writing process, etc., for the songs that you have put out so far. But before I do let you go, can you just let the This Is the Music listeners know what social media platforms they can find you on?
I always mess it up.
Our Instagram is the Rogues with 2 underscores. Twitter, I think. What's that?
Yeah, it's all sort of the same variation.
Brilliant.
Instagram is the Rogues 2 underscores. I know that.
Facebook, the Rogues. That's easy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Brilliant. Well, I'll put those links in the episode bio, and we'll make double check on those underscores as well for you. But lads, look, thanks as I say very much for coming on. I'm really looking forward to sit, as I said there, to see where else you're going to go with the music, because as I say, I've really, really enjoyed Lissy and Skinny Dipping so far. 2 fantastic songs. And as I say, I wish you all the continued success with what you are doing, because as I said at the very beginning, I think you have got that you have got the 2 songs there behind you to sort of cause a bit of a stir, I think, and get yourselves noticed. So yeah, thanks very much for coming on.
Thank you very much, man.
Yeah,
It's been a pleasure.
And all that leaves me to say is to thank everyone for listening to the latest This Is the Music Meets podcast. Please subscribe so you never miss out on any future episodes. And if you're enjoying the podcast, please leave us a 5-star rating and written review, as it does really help the bands and artists we interview to be discovered. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you somewhere down the road.